The lower pens at Korvask smelled like wet iron and old straw, and I liked it down there better than anywhere else in the academy. Nobody came to Wing 7 unless they had to. The corridor lighting was dim amber instead of the cold white they used everywhere else, because the animals didn't like the white, and somebody had decided the animal's opinion mattered more than a cadet's comfort. I'd agreed with that since I was 11, mucking out stalls for a man who bred working dogs back home, and didn't trust anyone under 40 with a temperament he couldn't read yet. My name's Raina Okafor, 17, second-year apprentice handler, the only human in the Beast Wing. Most cadets at Korvask had never met anything that couldn't be outranked, out-argued, or outweighted. Animals don't work that way. Animals are honest. The Kethrali in Pen 6 had been at the academy longer than I had. 11 feet at the shoulder, low and wide, 4 eyes ringing a flat skull, plating the color of wet slate. It came in from a containment seizure 2 years back and broke 3 handlers before. Anyone admitted the animal wasn't the problem. The handling manuals were. Every protocol assumed a Kethrali wanted dominance established through size, noise, or restraint. This one had spent its whole life being told it was dangerous by people too afraid to find out otherwise. And by the time it got to us, it had stopped waiting to be asked. I didn't ask either. I just showed up every morning, sat outside the bars, and ate my breakfast. No eye contact, no talking, no offered food. For 3 weeks. On day 22, it lay down on its side of the bars, close enough to hear it breathe, and went to sleep. The duty officer who found us that way filed an incident report out of habit and then didn't know what box to check, because nothing incidental had happened. By the time the Dranik squad found their way down to Wing 7, the Kethralians I had 4 months of understanding between us. I could open the inner gate and sit with it, cleaned a torn claw bed twice, and it had let me, holding the limb still on its own, watching me with the slow 4-eyed patience the manuals insisted was a precursor to attack. The squad called themselves the Vask Spear, 6 heavy world Dranik cadets, combat track, plating so wide it caught on standard doorframes. Dranik status ran on demonstrated dominance over something that could, in theory, hurt you. A cadet untested by danger wasn't really a cadet yet. Beast Wing was the obvious place to verify yourself. And staff had spent 2 years steering the spear away from Pen 6 because the Kethrali wasn't a teaching tool. It was recovering. The official line was veterinary restriction, which the spear had decided meant something was being hidden from them. They came down on a rest cycle afternoon, 6 of them filling the corridor shoulder to shoulder, plating clicking against the low ceiling. Their squad leader, Tarsk Vel, eldest, widest, kind. The Dranik who walked like the floor owed him room, stopped in front of Pen 6 and looked at me sitting on the straw with the Kethralis, head against my knee. "You're the human who sits with it," he said. Not a question. Dranik didn't really do questions. They made statements and watched how you reacted to being informed of your own situation. "That's right," I said. "It's restricted. Veterinary hold." He said it like a regulation he found personally insulting. "But it's calm, with you, so it's not dangerous. So, the restriction is administrative cowardice." He glanced at the others, and the squad arranged itself along the bars, 6 wide, the way you'd stand to watch something. "It's calm with me," I said. "That's not the same as not dangerous." "Then show us the danger," Tarsk said, and slapped his palm flat against the bars. A sound like a gong. The Kethrali's head came up off my knee. Fast. It never moved fast unless it meant to. But all 4 eyes opened on Tarsk, and I felt the muscle under its jaw go from resting to ready in half a second. "Don't," I said to him, not the animal. "Why not?" "It's restrained." Another slap. Harder. 2 of the others joining in. A rolling clatter built to disorient something that relied on hearing. The Kethrali's plating lifted along its spine, ridge by ridge. The way it did right before it decided something needed to stop happening. Didn't get up fast. Fast movement near a stressed animal just adds to the noise. I stood slowly, my hand flat on the Kethrali's flank, not pressure, just presence, and looked at Tarsk through the bars. "You're standing in a restricted corridor during a vet hold," I said. "If you keep hitting those bars, report's going to say 6 combat cadets provoked a recovering animal for entertainment. I don't think that's the demonstration you're after." It wasn't a threat. I said it the way you'd point out it was about to rain. The squad went still, all but Tarsk. Already decided this was the moment he'd come down here for. The animal doesn't listen to you, he said. It listens to nothing. That's the test. If it attacks, the restriction was justified. If it doesn't, the restriction is cowardice. Either way, something gets confirmed. He reached for the gate latch. Not the bars, the gate. The one I'd spent 4 months earning the right to open. The Cathrali was on its feet before his hand touched the latch. Here's the thing the manuals never got right, and the thing the spear didn't know because nobody had told them, and they hadn't asked. A Cathrali's aggression wasn't really about the target. It was about the gate. In the wild, the gate of a den was the one thing a Cathrali would die defending, because everything it valued was on the other side: young, mates, food stores. 2 years of captivity hadn't erased that. The animal had just redrawn the boundary. The gate of Pen 6 was its den now, and I was on the inside of it. Tarsk's hand closed on the latch. The Cathrali didn't lunge at him. It didn't need to. It pivoted its whole low body between Tarsk and me in one motion, its head against the gate from the inside with 11 feet and 2 tons behind it, and leaned. The gate, rated for exactly this, because someone in maintenance had taken the vet hold seriously, even if the spear hadn't, held, but it held by bowing inward 2 inches. With a shriek of metal every cadet in that corridor felt in their teeth. Tarsk's hand was still on the latch when the gate moved, and the latch, designed to release smoothly under a handler's grip, and lock immovably under any other kind, did exactly what it was built to do. It locked. With his fingers caught between the bar and the housing, he didn't scream. Frantic don't. Much pain comes out low, subsonic, something you feel more than hear. But he went down to one knee, fast, his reinforced bulk dropping, because his hand wasn't coming free, and the other 5 stood there with their palms still half raised, looking at their squad leader pinned to a gate by his own hand, by an animal that hadn't touched him, crouched and put both hands on the Cathrali's neck, low steady pressure, and said its name, the working name I'd given it. 4 syllables it had learned meant I was close and the gate was fine. It took its weight off the gate 1 degree at a time, the metal groan reversing until the latch released, and Tarsk's hand came free. 3 fingers already swelling, plating cracked along 1 knuckle. It defends the gate, I said. Into the silence, still crouched, still not looking away from the animal. Not me, the gate. You touched the gate. The duty officer came back from his break 90 seconds later to find 6 combat cadets backed against the far wall, their squad leader on the floor, cradling his hand, and a human apprentice sitting cross-legged in an open enclosure with 2 tons of Cathrali lying back across her lap like nothing at all had happened. The incident report took most of the evening. I gave my account, flat, factual, the same tone I'd used describing weather, and the corridor's overhead recorder gave the rest, because Wing 7 had cameras even if the spear hadn't thought to check. Tarsk's hand went to the medbay. The report went to his combat instructor. From what I heard, did not enjoy reading the words, provoked a recovering Cathrali for unsanctioned status verification. 6 times in one document. What I didn't expect was the second meeting, 2 days later, with the head of the Beast Wing, a broad, unhurried Thesic named Director Korvash, run Wing 7 longer than I'd been alive and who I'd spoken to maybe 4 times total in 2 years. The Cathrali responds to gate pressure. The way the textbooks say a Veth pattern predator should respond to den pressure, he said, sliding a data slate across the table. Nobody on staff connected those models before. You did 4 months ago, without writing it down, because you didn't need it written down to act on it correctly. He tapped the slate. Effective today, you're not an apprentice. Senior handler, Wing 7, full enclosure authority. The animal already decided that. I'm just updating the paperwork. I looked at the new clearance level next to my name and thought about a man back home who used to say, "A dog never lied to you about what it thought." You. People did that, but dogs didn't have the wiring for it. I'd believed him then because I was 11 and he fed me dinner. I believed him now because I'd just watched a 2-ton predator hold a locked door for me against 6 cadets who outweighed me 10 to 1, and it hadn't been a demonstration. It had just been Tuesday. "Thank you, sir," I said, and went back down to Wing 7, where it was quiet and amber-lit, and the Cathrali was waiting by the gate the way it always was. Not because anyone had trained it to, but because that was where I'd be.